Art is fun until you're dead. You're sleeping with the fishies. Art is gone to your head. Like the maggots. Like the maggots. Art. 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 Hi, my name's Storie Grubb. I like to make art. And I like to chew bubblegum. And we're almost out of ass. I think my drummer's drunk. That's better. All right, calm down. I came here to do 3 things. One of them is chew some bubblegum, and another is make some art. Sorry, I didn't mean to get all up close and personal like that. I know how people can be about that. So. Okay, that's better. Oh, gotta get my liquid, my watery substance, so I can drink it. What's on the headstock? It was the tuner. I had a tuner. I'll show you. I think. See? It's a digital, or it's a rechargeable one, so it's actually so nice. And yet my old one was very, very old, and it took batteries, and it was loud. It rattled. So I always had to take it off. And this is just how I hang the... These are usually behind. That's how I hang it on the wall. Just an old shoelace. But it hangs it up nicely. The things you gotta do... Yeah, it's an auto... Or it's not an... It's just a tuner. Yeah. I mean, it's you know what I mean. You know what... Yes. I think the answer is yes. But this is my... I can see, yeah. This is my old... One of my favorites is an electric ukulele. It's like the most unflattering angle. Unless you're filming from behind, upside down, in another realm maybe. Hello everyone. Hello, Diogo. Diogo. So I see the world is still spinning. I can thank all of you for that, I take it. I appreciate the company and I appreciate the comfort. It's almost like a Quality Inn around here. Except no one's cooking any cheese. My stepbrother, actually, when we were kids, my dad got off the phone when our parents were dating. My dad was reacting to something my soon-to-be stepmom was saying on the phone. And long story short, he got off the phone and I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Your stepbrother, Jared, he put cheese on bread and put it in the toaster, like thinking he would get a grilled cheese sandwich by putting cheese on the bread and sticking it in the toaster vertically. Vertically. Didn't end well for the cheese. Or anybody, really, I guess. See? And now I'm getting that really nice, crisp camera. See? I was like focusing. Whoop. Art guard. Extra. Kills creativity dead. And don't forget, Art guard regular. Kills creativity dead the regular way. Thank you. Hell is in a handbasket and we're all headed there right now. Sometimes I don't feel so alone. Especially when I realize how big the handbasket actually is. It's very large. And there's a lot of us in it. I'm not afraid of the future. I am disappointed in the past. That's all. That's all. Because the future hasn't happened yet. What? No. It's the end of the day on Monday. And somewhere out there, someone is dancing to the thought of another day coming. Somebody's looking forward to Tuesday out there, and I think that's kind of cool. I'm right with them. Does anybody have any cheese? I was just curious. If not, no big deal. We can still be friends. It's just I have certain expectations. Ah, Jesus. Jesus. See, that's what trips me out. Is that time is just this weird thing that we... I understand I understand. I get it. It's okay. Whatever. I just have one job to do, and I'm just gonna try to do it as best as I can. Just a little face. Hey, Daniel. 9 hours. It's a long time to be deep into Tuesday. That's like being up to your ankles in hog moose. I don't know if you've ever had the tragedy of ever having to deal with hog moose, but those bastards are tough. They come up to your ankles and they are angry. In a bundle, they're called hog meese. You just gotta watch out because they have teeth the size of sharks. Unfortunately, yeah. How I have this necklace of teeth around me right now. You can hear it. Hear it? Well, that's teeth. Little hog moose teeth all over my neck. Sometimes when I'm sleeping, I get all cut up. It doesn't matter because you know what? It's worth it. It's a badge of honor. The scars I get from the necklace made of hog moose teeth. Heck yeah. Not even gonna lie, the best thing ever. Feel like I can die a real man. Meow Master knows exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about, Meow Master. You know exactly what we're talking about. I think you're the one that invented it. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm here for a good time, not a short time. Not a long while. Wait, what? How does that explain? I'm here for a long time. I'm not gonna be what? Whatever. I think everybody knows where I'm coming from. I don't got a jolly around the bush tree. Not on this one. I think we all know what's coming. Does anybody want some chocolate milk? Meow Master, it is you. I actually was thinking about the Twinkle Dogs the other day. I don't know if you remember them, but it was those dogs that came after us that one night when we were riding our bicycles in the dark through the forest made of ice. It was probably the most magical night of my life. And those the Twinkle Dogs were coming at us 100 miles an hour. I don't know how we made it to even go 50 miles an hour on those stupid bikes in that weather. But it was the time of our lives. Well, I can't speak for you, but it was the time of my life. And it's the saddest thing to me that I'll never... One second, I'm sorry. That I'll never be able to tell you how sorry I am for how we ended up departing each other's company. Oh God. I said I wouldn't ugly cry, and here I am ugly crying. I gotta... Hold on a second. Give me a... Okay. No, we're good. Okay. Okay, we're good. I'm sorry. That was you. I almost passed out. At least we can all agree that the pie was good that weekend. It was the greatest pie I've ever had in my life. And since, I've never had pie that good. Just saying. Just saying. Out loud. Live. On record. Yeah, just saying. Gotta draw a chin on that sometime, right? And also thank you for the compliment. Sometimes he doesn't even get around to saying thank you. People say such nice things. He just acts like it's water beating off his little duck back. He thinks he's got feathers, but it doesn't. It's like bullets that go into his flesh, and they infest, and they bully, and they scatter around and skitter about under his flesh. And they grow, and they torment him so. And then others gotta come out and do the dirty work while he's down there in the cellar trying to make something good out of something bad. But we're up here just doing our job, alright? So I thank you for your company, and I thank you for the nice compliments. No matter what. No matter come, no matter go. No matter who, no matter how. How about them apples? Does anybody want some apples? I got some brand new Honey Crisps. And ripe, swollen little eggs. Little chicken eggs. I'm not actually sure if they're chicken eggs. They could be serpent eggs, but you're gonna have to find out for yourself, mates. Oh, the dying. The day is so dark. We're all gonna die, and the world is on fire. Oh, hello, Kitty. You look healthy. She's been eating cockroaches. You see, I bring them home from the ocean. They're the size of little dogs. These cockroaches, with the demeanor of more like some kind of insectoid that comes from the planet Nublarius, right next to Jupiter's third moon, Tiberius. It's quite a moon. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's quite a moon. Let's just say that. Take my breath away. You know what song? Like that's like the quintessential '80s song. I think that's what the song's called. But when that song comes on, it shoots me right back to like three specific times of my life, and they were all when I was, before the age of 10, and it was in the '80s when that song was like new. All those songs were new to me back then. But then I was also hearing all these like the oldies were only like 20 years before that, and that's crazy to think about because now the oldies to me, for like young people now, when I say or they say oldies, they're talking about like Nirvana and stuff. So what do they call like oldies, like Goldie oldies and stuff nowadays? I'm curious. I don't even know if there's an answer to that. I think they're just called the Golden Oldies on 101 FM. The Bibbidi Bop Bop Boobidi Boop Boop station. Yeah. Where 30-year-olds talk about 16-year-olds going on dates and jumping off in their cars off cliffs and stuff. Every song back then was about dating a 16-year-old in your 30s or like it being in a race car and driving off a cliff. My boyfriend's back and he's jumping off a cliff now. I'm 16 years old and he's 45 degrees. 45 years old now. And then people are like, no, it was just different times. It was different times. It's like, well, it was the record execs just like cranking out that stuff because they knew it would sell. It's not that those people were literally doing that, even though some of the most famous ones were. Jerry Lee Lewis. Great balls of fire in my ass. I'm just gonna give this little character some hair. Please don't stare. If anybody, if you could look over here at this eye. While I'm drawing this, it would make it quite easier. Because I can't really get a good result when people stare. Staring is caring, I know, but still, come on now. Come on now. Divert your attention, use your peripherals. Just please use the peripherals. Oh shit, people are saying stuff. I'm sorry, guys. Holy moly. Okay. It's 1:34 there. Holy, really? Daniel. Where are you again? Where are you? Let's see. And a happy little bush right there. Oh, yep, exactly. You saw the bush. You saw the bush. We have distant relative on the moose hog. I really like your art style. Saw that one. I just wanted to read it again out loud. Hey, yeah, boyfriend. Oh my god. That was kind of funny. Music for every one generation probably goes back 2 or 3 decades. I never heard much from the 50s and next to nothing from the 40s as a kid. The main stuff I would say that I heard from the 50s was like Elvis and a lot of maybe like blues. But that's a good point. But like there was a lot of like rock was, I think rock and roll was being really formed in the 50s. That's the thing, you know. With like, you know, it was just synonymous with being a rebel in those days. And I think it wasn't until the 60s when it became more of like a counterculture thing, you know, because before that it was like hot rods and rock and roll kind of stuff, you know, just the style, even the greasers and that kind of, you know, the rockabilly world and universe kind of thing and all the offshoots of that, because their style was obviously, you know, they were picking everything up from like all the, you know, African American art musicians and artists in this country. We were getting all of our style from those cats, and then it was just interesting, like to see like how we, as or like we, I say we like all white people are like related or something, but it kind of feels like that sometimes. We all look alike, but seriously, no, because everything just evolves anyway. Everything just evolves. I sort of I think I said devolves because it does devolve as well. Because as things evolve, they also devolve. There's just a constant give and take with art, and things go in and out of style so fast. You don't even before you blink your eyes, things have already mutated and shifted and become other things. But it's always neat to see what happens when you know an art form starts taking shape, or even just like a genre, and how the roots of them and stuff like that. Because when you go back to the roots, it's always just some random thing, even or one song, or even just like a certain style of dressing that leads to like a musical movement or an artistic movement. Like the mods and that like punk and just the disco and it's all and nowadays it's just all connected. It's all just which is as it should be. Um, because now we're just amalgamations of everything we've ever that's come before us, and it's quite impressive that we can even that there can still even be being pumped out so much original stuff in a world that's so static and up its own ass about everything. And I mean that in a bad way. No, but just as I say that, somewhere, some little artist somewhere just changed that perception, but I just don't know it yet or something. Because for every time I say, man, the art world sucks or whatever I think, when I'm all feeling like a little brat about everything, um, I'm all constantly like in the next breath remember like, oh yeah, no, there's this one artist. There's this one freaking artist out there and they're just doing it without having to talk about it or explain it or feel bad for doing it, feel guilty. We're made to feel guilty for being hyper creative, a lot of us. But those that get us tend to understand and give us the benefit of the doubt. I don't know many hyper creatives, but I'm the president of my club. Remind me later. I don't want to do a software update right now. Ah! I love Roy Orbison. And I've been listening to a lot of Elvis lately. Burning, burning, burning my whole life away. Your kisses lift me higher, like the sweet smell of the choir. You light my morning sky, a burning love. A hunk of burning love. He's the funnest person to emulate. A hunk of. It's fun because it's true. Elvis is an interesting person too. I wanna look at some of his interviews. I've seen a few interviews of his recently, where he's being asked about the war and stuff like that, and he's got some pretty intelligent answers. I always say this. I'm always like, seemed like a pretty cool dude. I made that mistake when my know-it-all friend was here recently. I was like, yeah, this dude that plays Batman seems like a cool dude, and he's like, he's not a cool dude. I'm like, oh, okay. Do you know something about him that I don't? Because he just seems like a. That's why I said he seems like a cool dude. I wasn't like he's definitely, positively, like, absolutely a cool person. I've never met him in my life. I know he's just an actor, but he's definitely. I didn't say that. I said it. It seems. You have that? Anybody else have that friend? Well, he's not. He's an actor. He's not your friend. He's not nice. And I'm like, whoa, did you read like Teeny Bop magazine or something? And did they spill the beans on something? Speaking of beans. Speaking of beans, did they spill the beans on him or something? You gotta spill the beans. Robert Pattinson or whatever. He just seems like a cool dude. I like his portrayal of Batman. I think it's really interesting. But yeah, anyways. I don't know why I'm talking. I'm talking like Batman. I definitely am. Maybe by the end of this broadcast, I'll be a little bit more honest with you guys and let you know exactly who I am behind the mask. Because I'm not just a member of the Storie Grubb Draws team. I'm the president. And you're all pardoned. Frank Sinatra? Ooh, yeah, I haven't listened to much Frank Sinatra. I think I would be a lot more open to that these days, though. I really like Leonard Cohen. I know there's probably tons of Bob Dylan songs I would love, but I can only listen to Bob for so much. I'm not like crazy, like into Bob like some people. But there's a few songs that come on, and if that are Bob Dylan songs, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's turn this up. Anytime a Jimi Hendrix song comes on, I stop what I'm doing. If I'm driving, I just pull over, or I just stop in the middle of the road and cause a wreck, because I just won't do anything. It's almost like until the song's over, I'll just listen to Jimmy. He's always been one of my faves. That man was music, man. That guy was his. I mean, he was his guitar. His instrument. As I think people I've said before even that if I could go back in time, the one person I'd want to meet would be Jimmy. Or just sit in the room and watch him play or something like that, you know? God. And then I don't know, start a company like called Apple and get rich before anybody else could. I don't know, maybe something like that. If I was still there, unless I had to go back. But I would take take like the head of Disney or something with me. I don't know, something cool, like some kind of souvenir to go back to the future with. Fret counter. I knew I was old when I seen today's kids wearing heavy metal band shirts they've never heard of. Kids these days. I was that old when I realized I say things like kids these days. Funny thing is, to me anyways, I've never had kids. Never had kids, so I feel like a big kid still. In a lot of ways, I just never had to I never had to raise anybody, so I barely raised myself out of bed in the morning because I'm tired. Yeah, I went for that. I went for it, and I failed you. I failed. Look at that little face. What's he doing? What's he doing? What's that little face doing? Gotta add some shadow down here. That's better. And this thing is there for a reason. I take it. Yeah, there's a lot of good music out there that I've neglected. I also just like instrumental music. I like a lot of Celtic music. I love the Chieftains. But I like a lot of folk music. I'm not a big fan of overproduced stuff. Like there's a fine line between I guess it's just a matter of taste. It doesn't matter. But I'm the kind of person that really likes the rawness and realness of certain things, like even like B-sides and things like that. And just low cost productions and things that aren't just like blown out of, where they spend like tons of money in the studio to, I like the music to sound somewhat real, I guess. I don't know. Depending on the music, I guess. Trying to think, give it like an example, but even like bands, certain bands, like I really like Surfer Rosa versus the recording quality of like maybe Trompe l'Oeil or something. Or bands do that a lot where I love the sound of Bleach versus Nevermind, for example. I think Nevermind is just way overproduced, but it obviously served its purpose. But I love In Utero for that reason too, because it's just more raw and raunchy, and it seems like that's more them as opposed to the clean, polished Nevermind sound. Just as an example, and I'm not saying Nevermind is bad. I'm just saying it's. I would have loved to have heard it in a more raw state. But that was definitely an album that changed me. I remember listening to Nevermind just over and over. It was like what got me to want to play the guitar and start writing my own songs was getting into Nirvana. I was absolutely, absolutely, almost like tragically obsessed with Kurt Cobain. Because once I realized he also doodled himself, and he had done like comics and things like that, I felt such a kinship to him, and the way that he grew up in this small town and stuff, and I grew up in like hella small towns. But there's like two parallels or something, two coincidence, and so but I latched onto it because it was just I. Before him, I'd never really I knew punk existed and all this stuff, but I'd never really seen anybody like him before. And then it just reminded me of myself a little bit, where I wanted it to, anyways. I don't know, but he made me want to go door to door, doing chores for neighbors out in the country and stuff, working in their orchards and saving up money just so I could go buy myself my first guitar. Just ride around aimlessly. Hi, can I mow your lawn for $10? I had to save up $175 to go back to the pawn shop to get the guitar. My first electric. I was 15. It was a Japanese guitar. It was called Hondo. it was it was this crappiest little freaking thing. I loved it though, and I got like a little teeny amp. And my best friend at the time, David, he had a drum set out at his place, so every once in a while, every blue moon, I'd get to go out there and play with him, and it was just the most wonderful, wonderful thing. When I did go out there and stay with him, we would record all these crazy songs and just stay up all night in our little like band shed thing outside of his house, because he lived right by the Sacramento River, and there was like a bunch of cars and junk on his property and stuff, and so we would like hotbox these cars. Jeez, oh my gosh, and go and like record music, and we would just be out of our minds and just making up the craziest songs. He's the only person that I've ever really collaborated with. But then I realized that how much I really liked, and this was probably like in 1995, 1996, and I realized that I really liked writing lyrics, or that I was actually kind of good at it, because we would need lyrics, and so we would have melodies that we were just sort of like messing around with, and then Dave would go inside to get something from inside the house, like a couple drinks or whatever. And by the time he got back out there, I'd already written like two verses. Oh shit! I'd already written like two verses and stuff, and and within another 5 minutes, I had another two verses. I was just a little lyric writing monster. our songs back then were so weird because we had all these strange instruments, and because most of the time we couldn't be super loud, so it was like acoustics and these weird organs and little percussive things, and um, we just would just free flow and just go into like these weird ass, I mean, very very strange songs, and then we would just our thing was that we would just record and then we would just sit back the rest of the night and listen to it and just laugh our asses off at what we came up with. Because it was all just mostly just like improv, except for like we'd write out lyrics and just kind of go for it. Anyway, sorry. Babbling. I'm babbling. Hey. Oh. Hi, Adeline. Hi, Adeline. Hey, yo. Hey, Ojo. Hello again, my friend. I wasn't allowed to hang out with him a lot, but when I did, it was wonderful because he was very musical. And at that time, I was daydreaming about. I already knew that I was never gonna stop playing guitar, never gonna stop writing songs. It was just a matter of me just getting better because it took me like it took me a pretty long time because I'm self-taught, but it took me a while to kind of find my own thing with music and um, what fit me and what because I tried things, because I thought that's how you were supposed to do it, and but I was so hard on myself instead of just understanding that I had a different style or the thing that I was actually going for, anyways, without knowing it maybe sometimes. Soupy? I'll call you Soupy. There's a fly in me Soupy. Where's Soupy? It's right next to Mississippi. Don't you mean Mississippi? No, 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 no. That's right next to the fly. Where? What are you talking about? In the Soupy? Oh, you son of a. It all comes back to the fly. The little fly. There's a fly on my tie. He's just a little guy. He's not doing much. He's just a fly. Look at that little guy. And he has a little butt, little legs. There he is. There he was. He's going to disappear very shortly. The 90s were cool too. Man. Just thinking about living in Chico at that time too was just so nice. In the summer, it was really hot. My stepdad would send me out to go look for jobs, and I would just go to the cemetery because he would wake me up at like 6 in the morning and say, "Get up, go find a job." And town was like 2 or 3 miles away, and I would just be on my bike riding into town, have my Walkman, and I would just go to the cemetery and just find a spot in the corner somewhere and just sleep. And because I couldn't find work, I was horrible at finding jobs. I was so anxious, and I couldn't talk, and I couldn't fathom working like a fast food place, and like working in cash register was like mortifying for me to think about doing. And I knew I would have to do that if I was hired at one of those places because I'm bad at math. Still am. I'm bad at like counting change back and things like that. And just the thought of doing it would send me into like a anxious spiral back then. But of course, back then they're just like, you got to do it. You got to do it. But I never did. So I would look for a few jobs here and there, and then the rest of the day I would go to the park and just smoke cigarettes and write poetry and draw pictures. At one point, I was dating a girl, so I would go over to her place sometimes, but not all the time. You'd always you always find these cool because it's like a Chico's up in Northern California. It's sort of rural in a way, rural, but there's a lot of orchards and things like that. And I would always venture out into those and find little spots to go and chill. little creeks, little hidden creeks that nobody ever goes to. Just it's kind of peaceful to think about now. Sometimes I smell something too, like a certain flower, or just like some like pollen in the air, some just at the right time, and it takes me right back to one of those times. Because it was interesting too, because that's when around that age, and being able to just find those little areas to go and just disappear to and hide from the world. Um, they're just the feeling of being there, like fills my head when I smell certain things or hear a certain sound or something. I don't know, certain bug. It's a freedom, a certain connection when you're. Because I didn't feel connected at home. My stepdad didn't really like me being there, so I tried not to spend a lot of time there. So my freedom was finding these little spots just to chill at, I guess. Oops. Soupy. You can just call me a Soupy. A Soupy, you can call me a Storie. Oh. And therma pops on right in the nick of time. Soupy, you can call me Storie, and I'll call you Soupy, Soupy, Soupy dibby dibby Soupy. Soupy, oh shit. I'll call you Soupy and I don't know where I was going with that. I was going to hell, I know that much. I was going to hell. Oh, Soupy. There's some kind of knife sticking in the belly of the beast. And I, for one, I think it's okay. I think it's kind of justified, just a little bit. I mean, look at the beast. It's kind of he's being kind of a jerk. Looks like he deserves it. I just got here. I'm not gonna judge. I came here to do 3 things. 1, 2, and 3. And it looks like we're almost out of 3. That joke will never get old. Not like me. I'm very old. Very, very old. Oh. Thanks for the likes, everybody. That really does help me a lot. It gets my channel recommended to the aliens, as you all know, and to the reptoids. I mean, they're already watching, and so is the FBI and the CIA, BCD. But we can't help that. That's just how it is. But the likes do help me in this video get closer to my end goal, which is to hijack the Space Jupiter mission and head to the moon where I belong. I miss my home. I just want to go home. This Earth air can't do it. So anything you can send or submit through snail mail or email would be greatly appreciated. Link is in the description as usual. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm pretty sure whatever I just said I was lying, so don't, whatever you do, don't listen to whatever I say. Thank you, everybody. There we go. Oh, Therma. She tells the best knock-knock jokes. Knock-knock, who's there? Therma. Therma who? Therma's the best knock-knock jokes in the world. That's funny. That was pretty funny. Oh, it's true. It's true. Alright, everybody. You know the drill. Be kind, please rewind, and I'll see you again soon. Whoa, Therma. I think this time she's really gonna do us all in. That's okay. I just came by to say hi, and that I love you, and that I miss you already. And to take care of yourself. Lead with kindness, look for kindness, you deserve kindness. Be kind. Thanks, Pastor. Everybody, thank you so much. Y'all be kind to yourselves. Love you.